the multi-Grammy winning songwriter, filmmaker, Mr. Save the Arts, who has worked with the likes of Lauryn Hill, Pink, Dante Thomas, Scarface, like the list goes on and on, like Heather Headley. It's just amazing to be sitting here, and it's an honor to be sitting here with you and your money table right now.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Kiana, over to you.
I am still trying to get this feed going live on Facebook.
So just do that when after your question segment comes up. Okay, go for it. On you.
You're so good. You're like boom, boom, and then
this is what I do, boo. This is what you asked me to do. This is what you do. Okay.
She be ready. She be like, "Hey, Kiana, you."
I got.
She like, I thought you were gonna read his whole bio. No, go.
I don't know. You know.
That thing long too.
Well, if you want me to, I can keep giving him. He's a visual artist. He has one of the only visual artist award shows. He has done so much work, so much philanthropic work in the community that I was impressed. I was like, I don't know this guy personally. That's okay. We get to know each other afterwards. But I was really impressed the fact that how much of a creative you are and how you have taken on and have your television network, your clothing line and all that. So I think we'll dive more into that as we talk today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that professional.
That's why he's the host too. See? There you go. There you go.
Excellent host. Look.
So, like I was saying, we've known each other for over 20, 25 years.
Right. Long time.
Yeah, old, because I'm only 26. Tell me more.
Look, that's what I'm saying.
Y'all
21 years old, and now we're 25 and 26. You know.
Okay, that's what happened. Out the womb, y'all met each other.
Right. Right.
That was right beside each other.
Right.
So
but you know, I don't think I ever knew. You know, how did you get into this entertainment industry?
Well, it started where I think you might have knew when I first started rapping. Well, I started off rapping early, probably like 15 years old. And I used to go in different communities. I was like a battle rapper. People would come get me. And matter of fact, remember when three-way calling was in effect? Cats used to call my house on the three-way. Like, yo, is what's your name? Yo, you Roski? Yo, we gonna battle. And I used to just be battling cats on the phone. Well, it led to me really beating a lot of rappers in the community to the point where somebody say, yo, hey, you need to maybe take it serious. And I got introduced to the 45 King, who's credited for starting the Flavor Unit. And he actually signed me. He signed me like under management. And we did demos. And at that time, it was me and my brother Cut. We was a group. We started, first we were Technical Form MCs. Then we were CUT and Sheem. Then we created OCM. Yeah. And then over time we had met Vader, and Vader was a producer. He was young. Matter of fact, I think he was DJing at the time, but he had just started producing. And we formed the group and we created a few demos. And it was a girl named Amelia. She worked in a record company, and her husband name was Kev, who did tracks. And Kev had a track on an artist named Papa Chuck that was signed. He was actually signed to Pendulum Records, and Charles Dixon was the A&R, and they were doing this posse cut. And Kev said, yo, I could try to get you on this posse cut. He was like, yo, but if you get on this posse cut, man, you better kill it. And I was like, bro, you get me on that cut, I'm going to kill it, right? And he got me on the record. And when the record went back to the label, Charles Dixon, which was the A&R, was like, yo, who is this guy? He's like, who is this guy? And it was like, that dude, Kilo, he's from Jersey. And he was like, yo, I want to sign this guy. And next thing you know, somebody introduced us to another woman who had a connection at Quincy Jones' label. So she took our demo and took it to Quincy Jones' label. So you had Quest Records and Pendulum both trying to sign us. going back and forth. We eventually did a deal with Quincy Jones, came out with a single called Watch How You Swing. And everybody knew us. Like, we were like, Naughty had East Orange on lock, and then they grew into where they had the world. But we had Newark on lock, and Lords of the Underground had Newark on lock. And we were like, and Redman, of course, had Newark on lock. And it was really, man, I mean, we were like little hood celebrities, and we were cool with that. And then we just traveled, and it was like, man, this is a real career. And we was young. I think I was 20 years old. On Yo MTV Raps. We was on Yo MTV Raps. We had our own tour. And, I mean, we signed to Quincy Jones. You know, Quincy was major player in the game. So he took care of us. He made sure we was in L.A. performing. We performed for the Rap Sheets convention and stores. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff. So that was good. But then Quincy really didn't know what to do with hip-hop. So he eventually, I guess, said, you know what? I'm going to let Russell Simmons have it since he got Def Jam. He's controlling hip-hop. And he kind of backed off, and his label kind of shut down on the music tip. And from there, we did a Pepsi commercial with the Flavor Unit. Shakim got a Pepsi commercial for one of the songs that was on the album called I Don't Want It If It Ain't. It was called I Don't Want It If It Ain't Easy, and we had the Tupac sample in it. And we switched it to I Don't Want It If It Ain't Pepsi. And it was a Pepsi commercial. It really popped off. And I mean, that was the first time. That was the first time we made some decent money, because we were like 20, man, we probably was 21 years old, and we did a Pepsi commercial and got $85,000 cash. We was
so
like,
you gotta add jingle songwriter to your resume too.
I'm telling you, listen, let me tell you, that was the first real piece of cash we made, and we was like, yo, we got to do more of this. You know what
Getting the Pepsi dollars.
Yeah, right. So that was our start. So I'm gonna let you go to your next question, so I'll just keep going on, because I will go on and on and on. Trust me.
So would you
but
say
that's how I started.
A passion, like, you know, something that you always wanted to do as a kid, or was there something else that you had in mind?
Rap was everything. That was everything. Like, one Christmas, my mother just bought me a keyboard, and I was in the room, and the keyboard had keys on it, but then it had a little beat machine part, and all I played with was the beat machine. I didn't even try to learn the keys, and I would just rap to the beat machine. And then when the DJs had the little mix shows like Red Alert and all of them, I had 2 radios recording cassette to cassette. That's when we were looping back in the day, like looping the beat to make it longer so we could rap to it. We were looping songs like Staying Alive. And we were just rapping. And that's how sampling started with us back then. You know what I mean? Like, awesome. We really started that. And that was it. I just wanted to rap. Man. I was the only child. So I was in the room by myself. I had to do something. You know what I mean?
Well, that's great. And when you think about the yourself coming into the industry, like when you look at artists now, what do you say to them in terms of how to become successful in the music industry?
Well, I think that when it comes to there's a fine line between, which we had to learn, doing what you love versus doing what works. Mm-hmm. 2 different things. You know what I mean? Because when we got our record deal, I cursed all the time. I loved cursing because everybody I hung around with cursed. I was in the community where everybody cursed. I go to the clubs where everybody cursed. And then now I'm sitting at an office table where somebody's saying, if you want to sell some records, if you want to play it on the radio, you can't be cussing all over the place, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and so I was like, okay, well, this is what I like to do, but this is what will help me sell. So I have to change. I have to adjust, you know? And I think people have to learn to adjust based on the goals that they want for their life, you know, different artists.
And that's so true. And just a small story about my little background. I had a group that we went to meet at A&R and Atlanta Records. And I remember one of the things he said is, this song is too wordy. People want quick, dumbed down version of music. And they thinking they had to be, poor righteous teachers and, be poetic and everything. And it was the lesson. Not everybody. So when you hear radio now, that's all you hear is these catchy hooks. And so would you
Right.
say in terms of a song that what makes a song? Is it the beat or is it the hook?
Mm.
It's a combination.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination because I think when you play a beat, your body starts to move when you hear a beat. It's like, oh, but your mouth don't move.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, when a hook plays, if they be like, is it all over my face? Hell yeah. You know,
Yeah.
the words give you the words to say to that beat. It's like, hey, repeat this. Repeat this. While you dance, repeat this. You know what I mean? And you start feeling it in your body. Every song that we danced to back in the day, the bridge is over, the bridge is over.
Yeah.
When you dance to it, you sung the words. You know what I mean?
Do you think that's
then
the same way that goes into the process of creating it, though? Like when you're in the studio, is it the beat that drives you before you think about the lyrics?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The beat will drive you. Yeah. Now, for some people who don't have a beat, they'll just create it from the melody they come to their mind. And then the producer might make a beat that wraps around that melody. But most of the time, it's a beat. If you hear a beat, you're like, I'm feeling that. And you say something that goes with that beat. And then when somebody else in that room repeats it, you know that it's catchy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like most of the time when people go to the studio, they rarely just go alone. They usually have their cousin, their friend, some little entourage. So as soon as they create something like, hey, 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 they look around the room. And if other people in the room start, hey, 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 they start knowing this is it. And they're feeling this. We're all in agreement that this is hot. You know what I mean? Yes. And they build on that. And they build on that. So that's what I definitely appreciate about the current day music, because it's the same thing. Even though people try to separate today's sound from yesterday's sound, we still got the same energy that comes from it. We still
foundation.
Hey, yeah, it's the same. Hey, you know, we still hop into it. We still party into it. We still giving each other that. You know, the girls are still bumping their girl like, hey, girl, this is dope. You know, so it's the same emotion. You know, same emotion. So everything has its place.
Has the same foundation. That's true.
That's right. Absolutely. Yes. It's talking to the soul.
Yes. But so when you think about your music career and then you taking a leap into becoming a filmmaker, when did you pick up a camera, and was it that made you say, I want to make films?
That's a funny story, because I came to North Carolina and I met a girl named Analja James who was a poet. And she asked me, could I help her with an album? Now, at this time, I had only did rap albums. I only did R&B records. I didn't know what to do with a poet. So my idea was, hey, if we can turn a poetic song and give it a hook with a hot beat, nobody won't even know you're really a poet. You know what I mean? Let's make it kind of like a song, even though it's your poetry, right? And when we did the first song, we scheduled a video, and we hired a girl that was coming to do a video, and she canceled on us 3 days prior to the video. And I said to Denalja, I say, look, either we can cancel this shoot, or we can figure out a way to get a camera. And my partner, Valerie Johnson, was like, yo, I'm going to buy a camera anyway, because I was going to buy a camera for Bennett. She ran the choir at Bennett College. So she said, I was going to buy a camera for the college anyway. So I was like, yo, well, let's get it and let's learn. And I remember this young dude named Odell, who was in college, who had came by the studio one time, and he was showing us his videos he made. So I called him. I said, look, bro, I need you to come show me how to work this camera. I said, look, if you help me, I'll help you, bro. And he came over there and he showed me how to shoot a video. And I sat right beside him while he was shooting the video, and I had a camera going too, getting like little B-roll footage. And that one video turned to 13 music videos. Wow. And then I said, after 13 music videos, I want to try a documentary. And because we were doing the Nowja's project, she created a group called the Stiletto Ladies. And it was about women. It was called I Stand Tall. So women who stood tall over different adversities, whether it was domestic violence, whether it was depression, whatever. So it was a big movement. So all of these women was hanging around the movement, and they were doing shows with Denalja. So I said, let's interview the women, get them to talk about their stories and make a little documentary. Well, we did that, and when we booked this theater, we sold the theater out. And I stood there looking at this. I looked at the movie standing up on the wall because there was no seats. And I said, you know what? I got the bug. I said, now I want to do a movie. I want to do a film now. So I remember the choreographer for the Stiletto Ladies. Her name was Morgan. And I remember her being a teacher at a middle school. So I started coming up with this idea about these kids at a middle school. And I called her like, hey, I got this idea for a movie. You want to do this movie with me? And she said, let me hear it. Come tell me about it. Talked about it. And it was called It Takes a Village. And we sold out 2 theaters with that. And we did It Takes a Village 1. We did It Takes a Village Part 2. We did Twisted Love with Latika Carter. She wrote that and I filmed it. And we were partners on it. We did Love's Hue, which was like our Love Jones. Matter of fact, damn.
At your poster.
I'm sitting right here. Look, I'm sitting right here by everything. I might as well grab it. It Takes a Village. It Takes a Village 1. It Takes a Village 2.
Oh, wow.
This is from Save the Arts Films and Flower Child Productions. And this is Twisted Love.
Who did all your
Kingdom
distribution
Designers and Save the Arts Films. This is me and Latika.
Did you do some distribution for it?
Yes. Well, the first, It Takes a Village 1 and 2 is on Maverick Entertainment.
Okay.
So these are signed to Maverick. And then this is Love Hue. This is my Love Jones movie. Me and my partner Valerie Johnson did that.
Love the cover art.
And this is Find My Way, the musical. Flower Child Productions and Save the Arts Films did that. And
I saw that.
so
That was
this
on
is
Amazon, right?
Yes, exactly. And the only reason why it's not on Amazon right now is because, you know what, as independent people who are starting businesses, we're doing this business because we want to make money.
Right.
Amazon, to me, did not pay well. So I said, you know what, after getting 4,000 views to our film, and you showed me some numbers where it's like $11, that's not worth it. When we could go to a place called Vimeo.com and pay $264 a year, and we could stream our movies at the price we come up with. So one stream, if it's $5, we made $5 on one stream versus 4,000 streams to get $11. Made no sense. You see what I'm saying? So even though, so it was like, instead of going with the big boy's name, big Amazon, I'd rather go with something that's going to help the business grow. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's good advice, though, when you think about what that means in terms of people want a name. But you talking about somebody starting out, when you need something that's going to be able to put back into your business, it's better to go with a company like that. So, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, go ahead with your next question. I told you I'd get going.
I think we lost Kiana's audio. I told you she was Bruce Lee in it right now.
She was Bruce Lee?
You're right now doing this. Are you back?
Oh, man.
We find out about to have a comedy show like tied into Inspire.
Listen, check my resume, okay? So.
Oh, man.
Well, like I was trying to say.
So you were saying something all the time.
I was.
Just being quiet.
I you go. On, from over there. I want to go back because I don't think we actually asked you this. But who inspired you to get into music and then into film?
Well, I'll tell you this. When it came to being inspired about music, I'm going to say all the old school rappers inspired me. Eric B. and Rakim, Run DMC, LL Cool J. I was the same. I was the little kid like this. Like every other little kid when they was having their heydays. I was one of the same kids just looking at them and wishing I was like them. You know what I'm saying? And my boy Latif, he was dating a club singer named Vicky Martin. And she had a hit song called I Need a Man. And then she did a remake to Nowhere to Run. Nowhere to run to, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And he said to her, why don't you let Cool Sheen, that was my name at the time, why don't you let Cool Sheen get on it? And she was like, is he good like that? And you know what? He persuaded her, because I don't think she really wanted me on that record. But he persuaded her to give this young boy a shot. So when I got on that record, that was my first time being on wax. And then I went to the Zanzibar, and I was on stage rapping my little part. And that was the introduction to the music industry, and really being like, oh wow, I really like this. I really want to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That was it. I had to give her a props because that was.
I said, you know, I was inspired by Diana Ross. I always thought I was going to be Diana Ross, but
Did you, Kiana?
I did.
Did you? Okay.
I know that's right.
I did.
I know that's right.
Definitely, you know, that didn't go my way, but
But you got your Beyonce fan going, so listen.
I know that's right.
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, you got to talk, you're on the purple side, so I mean on the what you call it?
I am still trying to get us on live.
Well, guess what? Nothing else. The good thing about post editing is that we gonna put all this together, and it's gonna look
That's
like
right.
it. That's
That's
it.
right.
You gotta go. You gotta get to. I've asked my three, so now it's your turn. You at the after my questions.
Let's
after my
get
three, it is your turn.
So let's start. So what is the most challenging part of being in either industry, whether it's film or music?
The most challenging part, I would say, is getting good at the craft. Because people, like for me, some of the movies I showed you, I'm proud of, but at the same time, they won't go to Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Some of them won't make it because of, that was me learning. Some movies, some are better than others now. Out of five, when I got to five, I got good. You know what I mean? But when I did 1 and 2, you know, I got editing mistakes, we got sound mistakes, but it takes, I think artists have to learn how to check themselves, how to critique themselves, and how to allow themselves to grow. Don't think just because you start something and you're ambitious that you just fire, because you're not. You still a baby in whatever it is you're trying to do. When you first step in to that arena, you are a baby. Identify yourself as a baby and allow yourself to grow. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they say, I'm about to start this tomorrow, and they want to be at the tippy top tomorrow.
Absolutely.
No, you're going to really, you're setting yourself up for failure. You know, when people come into the music industry, they think it's what they thought it was in their head, and they're going to be surprised. No, listen, this is a business. They standing around giving you high fives and everything, but if your record ain't going to sell, you won't see them no more. No. You know what I mean? You won't get that call back no more. You know what I mean? So
they should teach a whole class on that.
Yeah, I mean, I literally try to mentor as many people as I possibly can, because not only have I been in it a long time, going on 30 years, but at the same time, I've sat on different sides of the music industry. I was an artist signed to a label, so I know what it's like to sit at a conference room and everybody's making plans for you. Right. And them telling you what to do as an artist. And then I got on the other side where I was the producer writer, where we sat in the meetings where they were talking about if the artist was going to make it or not, or if they was even going to put a certain amount of money behind this artist, or they was about to drop the artist. And the artist is in the studio with us, all happy and showing up late and eating all the food and clowning in the studio, while we having behind the scenes meetings when they're about to drop them. Right. And we sitting there like, dang, that's crazy. They don't even know what's going on behind the scenes, you know? So I was able to see, so I was fortunate enough to see both sides of the table. You know what I mean? Right. So I definitely try to share as much as I can. for those that are willing to learn. Because it ain't just about, it ain't about those that's willing to listen. It's about those that are willing to learn. Because it is a teaching. You know what I'm saying? It is a teaching.
You should always be open to learn.
Huh?
I said in life, I think you should always be open to learn. You know, there's always
new things,
especially with technology. You know, technology changes so quick, right? So
that's right.
Using one equipment, 5 days later, somebody's onto something new, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
You're ready to pivot, change, you know, and be open to learn, like you said.
That's right. So that's like when I talk. That's like when I talk to producers. When I talk to producers and writers now, and we talk about different projects from different artists. Sometimes you would hear somebody reference a hit record that an artist may have had. And they'd be like, oh man, I got a record just like the record that they just had. And I say, that ain't gonna work. I said, because it's not about where they're at, it's about where they're headed next.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
They're on to the next
thing.
They're going to the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they going, it's you have to be a visionary to think about where's Beyonce going next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember I made a beat. And it was a couple of years ago. And it was for Beyonce, but the project had already closed. So I missed the window, right? But the beat was an African beat, and it was drum, and we actually used it for another song. We used it for a Morgan song called Go Off. But it had an African boom, bap, bap, boom, bap, boom, bap, bap, and it had a real African feel to it. So when I saw this new Beyonce project, I was like, oh, man, I was on. Right? I was like, I was right on. I was on it. I was like, I was on it. Right. I was like, I was on it. Because now you see all of these famous African artists and the African beats all across the album. That was a pure international album.
It was.
Pure international.
For integrating different artists into songs. That's true.
Oh yeah. She knew what she was doing on that record. That record was not for the U.S.
No.
It was not for the US.
I think it has global appreciation. I mean, that's the thing about it. Because when I listen to it, I'm like, okay, I'm there with her. Because you want to hear something different from her. I've always wanted to see that transformation and elevation of her music. So I appreciate it that she's gone there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I enjoyed it. I especially enjoyed it when I saw certain visual artists' art being inside the visual. Yeah, I was like, I know that artist. I know that artist. Huh?
So that's a question Kiana was going to ask about your program, right?
Yeah, she got a few. Look, I tell you, I'm like a run-on sentence. You got to stop me and then ask another question.
I do have a question. So you talk a lot about, you being a mentor and giving that information back, sharing that information. Who's your mentor?
Who is my mentor? Wow. I'm going to tell you, I was one of those guys where I was blessed to always be around older people. And even when Kiana, you know me from back in the day, we was always hanging with Latif, Pee Wee. All them cats was like 10, 15 years older than us. So it was the same thing when it came to the music industry. I had opportunity to sit around Andre Harrell. I sat around, guys that built big companies, these older guys, and they schooling us. And even now, I still be around older cats, to me, I say I sponge the information from everywhere. You know what I mean? I don't think it's no one person that I can say it all came from. I remember like last year, was it a year ago? I was the bodyguard for Dick Gregory, his last visit to the South. His last visit to the South. We were his armed guards. And let me tell you, I was with him for 3 days, and the education he gave me in 3 days, that job was priceless. It was priceless. And, certain things that we learn, they go beyond music. Being a black man, the education about being a black man by itself is a lot to swallow. You know,
Mhm.
I remember taking on learning about a home, and me, my uncle, and my cousin was building this home that was dilapidated. It was 10 grand and it took 21,000 to fix it. And now it's like worth almost 100 grand and collecting rent every month. But we did it all by hand. And I felt that it was important for me to learn those skills because when I lived in Jersey, I was literally a Jersey boy and I became a songwriter. And that's all I really knew. When I came to the South, I actually got to be around some rednecks. I got to be around some Southern black folk. I got to be around some people who love getting dirty. And I learned how to use my hands in all kinds of ways. I went and got a degree I have a degree on collision repair and refinish technology, just because
Really?
I love classic cars. So I went to school and learned how to do it. I don't work in no body shop or nothing, but when I get my house and I put the garage thing in the back, I'm be out there working on them cars and painting them and doing everything because I thought it was so important. It connects me to my ancestors because my ancestors were builders. They
Yes.
built this whole country. They built it. Whether it was
Yeah.
a railroad track, whether it was a house, whether it was the White House, whether it was the house that everybody visit down here in Asheville, the Biltmore, whether it was somebody's mansion or whether it was a little house for themselves, they did it by hand because that's all they had. So I felt as a black man, we definitely have to get back to knowing how to do things with our hands, going back to growing our own food, knowing about herbs, knowing about health, treating your body right, knowing your body is all you got. You only got one, and when it collapses, that's it. You know what I mean? So I took a lot of time to understand that, and it made everything else easy. It made everything else easy. Music, film, all of that stuff is just me controlling a narrative.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's me as a black man saying, hey, I got 5 kids, 4 boys and 1 daughter.
Wow.
And guess what? My boys don't have nothing to watch. So guess what? Maybe I need to create something for the young people to watch. An example of themselves, telling a story, showing them struggling and showing them overcoming some things. You know what I mean? So this is just when we rap or when we write a song, we telling a story within 3 verses, right? When we do a video, we're trying to tell a story in 3 minutes. When we shoot a movie, we're telling a story and giving you visual and controlling the music and the narrative in 1 hour.
Yes.
You see? But it all goes back to telling a story. And what story are you telling?
Well, let me go into in terms of like for your path and your journey, you've had things as far as being signed. And when you think about new artists that are coming on and even being as a filmmaker, what are your thoughts and suggestions about staying independent versus signing with these major distributors or a record label?
I think that they just have to understand both are good. Both are good because they just have to understand what the differences are. You can be successful in either way. You could be a millionaire either way. You have people who have record deals and they are millionaires. They have mansions and they travel the world and all kinds of stuff. You have some people that are independent that are millionaires, but it's very rare because what people have to understand is when you are going independent, you are saying to yourself, I am going to do the job of all of these people in this doggone company that get paid individually to do a job. You know what I'm saying? So you're saying, I'm going to create my record, record my record, mix my record, master my record, do 10 songs, get my artwork done, get my barcode, put it online. I'm going to have a budget to market, to promote. I'm going to shoot my videos, do my own tours, book my own shows. You see what I'm saying? It just goes on and on as an independent. Now, the benefits of that, if you do all that work, then yeah, out of a $10 sale, okay, $8 may be yours.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's great. Now, the difference of a major label is most deals, 60 cents goes to the music. You heard that? So that means on an album that has 10 songs, 60 cents, some deals are 70 cents, but let's just say 60 cents goes to the music and is divided by 10. So that means that 6 cents per song, that's divided by 2, which is the lyrics is 3 cents and the music is 3 cents. So in order for us to make some money, we go platinum, we sell a million times 3 cents, bring us to what? 30,000. 30,000 to the writer, 30,000 to the producer on one song. You get what I'm saying? So now it seems like, dang, that's some real jerkery, which it is when you look at the numbers. But there's another factor there that we don't think about. They're spending $1 million to sell 1 million records. You see what I'm saying? So even though they're getting paid, the numbers is totally different. They have the big marketing budget that you don't have at home.
Right.
And even if you did have it, you probably wouldn't risk it on your own talent. You see what I'm saying?
Right. But then you look at somebody like Chance the Rapper who has done that. And people see it, especially with the multitude of platforms out there. Right. Why not take that leap versus saying, okay,
Well, guess what? That's almost like saying, how many black people won the Olympics? You get what I'm saying? You do have winners. You have winners, but how many? You get what I'm saying? That number is small. How many black movies comes out every year? Black film that's written by a black person or produced by a black person. It's still a small amount. Even though you have a Black Panther, which is successful, you still have a small amount of black movies coming out. Right. So when a Chance the Rapper, there is a such thing called black. You get what I'm saying?
You get what I'm saying?
Right. There's a such thing as called being blessed, And some people will break the mold to let you know what is possible. It doesn't mean that it's attainable for everybody. You get what I'm saying? It just lets you know that, hey, this person just broke a barrier. Wow, that happened. That should give you inspiration. It doesn't say try to follow his blueprint like it's going to happen for you. Right. Because it may not. It may not. And Chance the Rapper, there's a few other rappers that are independent that are as successful or more successful than a Chance the Rapper. You get what I'm saying? So, but there's no blueprint to this thing. There's no blueprint to dreaming. You have to really believe in yourself. That's and true. Believe in yourself to the point where others can see how much you believe in yourself and they believe in you too. And some people will pour into you and share their connect. Some people share their wealth, and I think you really have to stay grounded. That's important to stay grounded, man, because you get that money and I'm going to tell you, music people, entertainment people, sports people, all of these people they spent a lot of time honing into their talents. But their talents bring wealth. But a lot of them are uneducated about wealth. Yes. So, God say, a fool and his money shall soon part. All of the people that I've known, including myself and my partner, we've been millionaires a few times. And we've been broke a few times too. You get what I'm saying? Because you have to say to yourself, wow, so that conversation, because as you know, it's kind of like ignorance is expensive.
Yes.
Ignorance, you get what I'm saying? Ignorance is expensive. So when you start making some money and you start being around other people who are making money and y'all all ignorant, that's going to be a lot of wasted money in the room. You get what I'm saying? And I remember being in the room.
Bottles of champagne.
Exactly. And I remember being in the room where somebody say, well, I remember one time I said, oh man, I like that. Who was that Dodge? The Dodge Viper. I said, man, that Dodge Viper hot. And dude said to me, Dodge Viper, man, you don't buy no American. Get a Ferrari, man. You get a Bentley. You get good. And I was sitting there like, okay, what's that? And it was like, I can't even mention American cars no more.
Wow.
It was like, because everybody in the studios was either foreign or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then it went from...
Even with clothes. Even with clothes, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Absolutely. Gucci, Prada, Fendi. You know what I'm saying?
You reach a
And
certain social
even when it
status and you
came,
run that.
Exactly.
yeah. And then you start getting these things. I remember this one dude. I'm gonna tell you, it's funny. I remember this dude. We met this dude. I think we met him to Wycliffe, and he told us to come to his house at like 5 o'clock in the morning one day. We came, me and Vader. We went to his house. He put us on a jet in Teterboro, flew us to Florida, to this place called the Toy Store, and they had 2 Ferraris waiting for us to drive.
Wow.
And we get in these Ferraris. We got in the red one. We got in the yellow one. And we drove around for like an hour. And the guys in the passenger seat like, this is sweet, baby. This is you. This is you. You got to have this. And I was like, you right. I got to have this. And Vader was like, man, I'm getting this. And we went back. We started doing a little paperwork, but the yellow one wasn't ready because they came from overseas. The red one was ready. The yellow one wasn't ready. So Vader did the paperwork for his. And I said, let me know when it's ready. They was like, all right, cool. Well, they messed up with me because that gave me time to think. You understand? And it gave me time to say, it gave me time to say, do I want a Ferrari? What's my favorite car? What car I like? And Vader, he got the red Ferrari, and I bought a Bentley. So they were pissed at me. They was like, he didn't buy the yellow Ferrari. I bought the Bentley. I was like, I'll take that. And Vader bought the Ferrari, and we was Bentley and Ferrari riding around. But back then, that car was he had put $65,000 down.
Wow.
And was paying $1,900 a month payment. And insurance was $8,000 a year.
Oof.
Now, you talking about who was there to educate these young boys messing this money up left and right?
Well, I mean, the thing about that is that for yourself, like you said, being a mentor and you now taking ownership of like a clothing line, like you have your shirt on your Generation No.
Right.
And, people don't think of it in the level of the other designers, but what made you decide to come out with Generation No? What was the thought behind the name?
Generation Hip Hop.
Okay.
Well, this came from a realization of who we
Generation
were.
Hip Hop, sorry, yes.
Yes, Generation Hip Hop. It came from a realization of who we were. Because, like I said, I have sons, right? And 2 of them are rappers. One is 21, one is 19. They both rap. And they love hating on the old school. They love hating on the old school. and I have to educate these cats. I'd be like, yo, listen, let me tell you something. We created hip hop.
Right.
That's ours. That's ours. And I used to, and not only for the my sons, but people my age who were friends on Facebook would say certain things about hip hop, like this is garbage, hip hop is trash, hip hop. I said, hold on, wait, hold on now, y'all. Every time some black people create something, you got a set of people telling them black people what they created is not sufficient, it's not that good, it's not that. Yo, stop it. If you was a kid that wore Gucci, Prada, Louis, Lee's, Oshkosh, all of these, then you are a person that played a big role in all of these people becoming billionaires.
Yeah.
You know? And
absolutely.
when they were selling them records, they sold them records to us. We bought them records. Our mamas bought them records, Beach Street and all that stuff. Took us to the movies to see everything hip hop. And then we had the haircuts. We had the faded jeans. We had the Coca-Cola shirts. We was in the parties dancing. We were the culture.
Yes.
That really gave hip hop a leg to stand on, which showed the rest of America, hey, these black kids are onto something. Why? Because we were the generation who came after the generation who was part of the Black Panthers, and that was part of civil rights. We were lost generation, so hip hop was our way to communicate to each other. So we are generation hip hop. That's who we are, and we need to be proud of it. We need to be proud of it because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that almost every person who got any sense got their hand in it. Amazon, everybody got their hand in hip-hop. Yeah, everybody. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's one of the things I think about when the education of people who try to get in this business, because it amazes me how in other music cultures, they uphold their legends like a Willie Nelson and all the Dolly Partons as icons. Whereas in hip hop, it's almost like, get out the way. When all of the people who came before, they don't think about the fact that who paved the way to actually you having all these various multiple ways to get money. And, you know, with them, they weren't making money like they could make now. I mean, then versus now. So why, I mean,
Right.
what are some of the things that you try to inform them about when it comes down to, you know, educating themselves on the old school and appreciating it?
Well, I tell you what, if you look at, you know how grandma used to say, everything comes back around. Everything comes back around. And if you look nowadays, you see a lot of the old school rappers are stepping back out on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
LL Cool J got a talk show. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You got different rappers are now shooting movies. They got movies on Netflix like Nas. Nas and them invested in different apps. Will Smith rap with his son, but he's the movie mogul. I mean, all of these people are examples. They're examples of hip hop growing up.
Mm-hmm.
That's hip hop in a grown form. You see what I'm saying? Back in the day, we were hip hop kids. The culture was young. The words, the slang, the music was young. Now all of us are growing up, and this is hip hop growing up with us. When we see Puffy with all his, you know, them clothing with Sean John and all that stuff, that's hip hop growing up. You know, them guys. You know, when we see Tyler Perry Studios, and you see him acknowledging everybody, and you look at the crowd, and then you see big actors, celebrities. Oh, and there's your rappers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
the rappers. You get what I'm saying? True. So now the rapper's on the same level as the big actor and the same level as the athletes. You see what I'm saying?
Especially when they're able to cross over, because that's another thing people always want to do now in terms of filmmaking, which is probably one of the reasons why you know did that, how there's such a smooth transition from that. And one of my questions would ask you in terms of filmmaking, what film would you want to remake?
And shot.
The one, I'll tell you what.
Oh, wait, but Keanu was
what film?
On that question,
I think
have someone else to ask.
Oh, she has a question. Somebody come in.
So after this question, then we'll bring somebody on to ask a question.
Okay. I think if I was to remake a movie and I had a budget and I could pick the dope actors, you know what I would redo? I would redo Roots.
Oh, really? Oh. Why?
I would redo Roots because I would do it from.
Just don't make it a musical, but go ahead.
I wouldn't make it a musical. There is a book. There's a book by a woman named California J. Cooper.
Okay.
She has a book. She has a book called Family. It's called Family. And if you think Color Purple, and you think those stories like that are amazing, this lady wrote this book, and it was during slavery times, and you can almost see it. You can see it. And I'm sure somebody's going to pick up her book and they're going to do something with it. But I would do something because I think when people think of, if you ask a person, did they see Roots, right? They go, yeah, I can't watch that. I don't watch that. And you'd be like, why? And they go, oh, I don't watch slave movies. I don't slave. But I say, well, did you see Roots, the second generation? The part 2? And they go, nah. I don't watch it. Well, guess what? That's why you can't learn something, because you won't see it all the way through. See, because if you see it from the beginning, you see Kunta, you know, and he turned to Toby, and then you see, you know, the slave masters whipping and all kinds of stuff like that nobody wants to see. But if you go to the second generation of Roots, you also see when Kizzy's daughter married, was it Kizzy's daughter or was it Kizzy's? It was Kizzy's son's daughter. Yeah, it was Kizzy's son's daughter who married a dude named J.P. Palmer. And J.P. Palmer worked at a lumber yard. And one day he worked for a white man in the lumber yard. And one day the white man was so drunk that the people who were financing the lumber yard said, we can't do business with this guy anymore. And they said, J.P., can we do business directly with you? And J.P. was like, I guess, you know, he was kind of scared. He didn't want to step on the white man's toes, but he said, I guess. And they started financing the business through J.P. Palmer, and J.P. Palmer was the financial change in his family from generations after that. Which
but I can almost see that can be the pickup for it, though. Like, it's supposed to be like the beginning of Roots. It'd be like the story picking up from his story. So that's a good idea. I mean,
I'm telling you, I'm down here in the South, so I have heard some stories. I've met some incredible people. I've met some elders that you would sit there and be like, what? Really?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
grandmother was a slave? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
It's,
That's so
it's,
true.
it's, yeah, it's history.
But that
It's
goes to
history.
show how present it is in terms of us not wanting to look back at that, because there's still people who are still current descendant of slavery. So, that's why
That's right.
stories like that are still important to tell, as much as we want to, we want to have a full scope. We want to have the, movies about the first black banks, but we also need to tell the stories about how it
Right.
all began. So
Right.
that's
Absolutely.
important.
That's right. All right. What's the
But
What's
we're
the
also
question,
waiting on,
Kiana?
we have a question that's coming in from somebody who's viewing right now. Regina McKay, I think we're just waiting on her video and her audio to be unmuted.
I think here she is. She's coming on.
Here she is.
Oh, can you see me?
Yeah, look at us. It's like you're looking away.
Hello.
You have to turn to up, like turn.
Okay, there you go.
There you
I
are.
have the screens going, that's right. So I just want to thank you, Kiana, and Shay, for this opportunity. It's great, Rasheem, just to meet you and hear about your songwriting experience and filmmaker. So great life story, career, everything. I've really enjoyed it thus far. So one of my questions I had was, what's next? What do we have to look forward to next from you? What projects are you working on?
We are editing 2 films right now, currently. One is called Rooster, and one is called Caking Up. One is a comedy, and one is a serious. One I call it a chick flick, because it's one movie that we're doing where the ladies are going to connect with this movie so deeply. And I can't even give I'll give it away if I say what it's really about. But it's called Rooster. It's called Rooster, and it's going to be so touching. It's going to be so touching. We shot it, and right now we're editing and adding the music to it. So that's our 2 new projects that we're working on.
Awesome.
So Rooster, and what was the other one? You said Rooster, and what was the other one?
Yeah, what was it?
It's called Caking Up. Caking Up is a comedy.
Caking Up.
Pick it up.
Yeah, Caking Up is a comedy. And
Like
everything that we do, we really slide a message in there. So, when you watch Caking Up, it's one of those things where a person didn't believe in himself, and they come to find out he was trying to do all these different things, and they wasn't working. And then somebody said, hey, well, you do this all the time. Why don't you do that? And he said, well, let me try it. So the message is, sometimes you already have what you need to survive.
Let me say how much that's a word, because literally my pastor was just talking about that. Like, you already know how to do hair. You already have a good mechanic. Just nobody knows you. You got to put the work in. So that's awesome. Right. I can see that being a great story.
Yeah, and it's a comedy, so it's funny.
Oh, I love it.
Regina, do you have any other questions?
And that we can find, I guess it'll be on film. I don't know, with all of this coronavirus going on, we'll see how things will be launched, whether it's on Netflix or.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We also have a documentary series coming out called The Golden Age of African American Art. The trailer is already on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and type in The Golden Age of African American Art, it actually talks about, after what's the era called? The Harlem Jazz, the Renaissance era. Remember that Renaissance era that happened? Well, not that particular era, but during that era, you had a lot of art that was collected by a lot of white museums and galleries, and nobody could own a lot of those pieces of art. They're very expensive and hard to get. Well, after that generation, there was a group of artists that was emerging, and we saw Good Times, and we saw Ernie Barnes did the art on Good Times. It wasn't JJ, you know what I'm saying? And then Varnett Honeywood did the art that was on the Cosby Show. And then it was a generation of artists who all were like a family to one another, and they helped each other survive. And I mean, the stories, they're incredible. They're incredible, because I can almost guarantee that each one of you have a piece of their art, or at least seen it, or had a magnet on your refrigerator at some point from Larry Poncho Brown or Charles Bibbs or Annie Lee, the figurines from the church figurines. These are all the people that have come together, that we interviewed different people. And it's an amazing documentary.
And
That's
that's
awesome.
on YouTube now. What was I was trying to
If
find?
you go on, if you type it, it's called The Golden Age of African American Art. The Golden Age of African American Art.
Yeah, we'll make sure you put it
It's a
on the
free.
Facebook page too. But
Okay.
thank you, Regina.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, Regina.
Yeah,
Thank
sure,
you.
no problem.
Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Same
So
here.
while we're waiting on that, I was going to ask you, with all the many hats that you are wearing, how do you balance your life? How do you create some balance?
You know what? Because they all work together.
Mm.
They literally all work together. Let's say, for
Seamless.
instance, we're working on a film, right? So we might be working on a film, and people are on the set with their phones out, doing lives, talking to each other, all that kind of stuff. And it was like, hey, we got a YouTube page. Let's put this on our YouTube page, the behind the scenes stuff. So that works with that. Or sometimes we might say, dang, we need a piece of art in this room. Isn't it? Hey, I do art. Let me make this piece. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like everything goes together, and that calendar is everything. Calendar is my friend. At first, it was just like, all right, I need to make a day to do art. I need a day to do music. I need a day to work on the foundation. I need a day to do Save the Arts Awards and start balancing out. But it's all in the art world. Like, I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and I'm all about the art. So that's my life. I'm around creative people, and I love it because they're some of the best people on the planet.
Yes,
Because a
absolutely.
creative person, a creative person don't let the world get them down. Because
Yes.
if you let the world get you down, the world will kill every dream you can imagine. You know what I mean? And it's really, we say the world, but we know what it is, Like Adam and Eve was cast down to the earth, right? With the devil, and the devil he's here to do a job, right? To whisper stuff, doubts, and how you can't do this, how you can't make it, and you're nothing, and all kinds of stuff like that. So guess what? Your creative people, we combat that. We'd be like, man, look, if you can dream it, you can do it. You can build it.
Yes.
Go for it. Try it. And then when you
especially if they got somebody like you that's like hyping them up, because Lord knows I need to call you every morning, like, please tell me something inspirational, because I'm telling you.
Look, let me tell you something.
We might have to have you every month. We might have to have
let me tell you.
Rasheem, Kilo.
Right. Daily hype man, dream inspirator.
But you know what's crazy? You know what my true motivation is to live in life? Death.
This is true. And with that
Coming
most
from
recent shock to the industry, I think it resonated with everybody about how precious life is. So that's so true.
Absolutely. Coming from Newark, New Jersey, I lost a lot of friends that I was sitting on the porch with dreaming. I lost a lot of friends. Somebody was trying to get a Porsche truck. He died trying to get it. He was selling drugs trying to get it. I mean, people, they died, and as they died, one by one, I'm sitting there like, dang. And you make a choice, and you say, you know what? Am I going to sit here and be down? Oh, I got to represent for my man. I got to represent, And you be like, this for my man. This for my boy. And then after a while, when so many of them start disappearing, you be like, oh, this life is short. This life is real short. I don't have, if you're going to say, hey, I believe in God. I believe God got me. That's a big statement. You say, I believe God got me, because that means that no matter what happens, you should never let nothing really get you down. You know what I mean? If you get a flat tire, it don't make sense standing there looking at that tire angry for 30 minutes.
That's
Just know that, hey, that's a flat tire, and guess what? Just be thankful you ain't run into that tree. You know what I mean? You still blessed. Now call somebody to pick you up, and guess what? Call your insurance. And keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Well, I would add to that. I mean, because I believe that it's not so much about the getting down; it's about getting back up. Because you can get in a funk. It's just you shouldn't stay there. There's things that's always going to be in a moment of like, oh, why is this happening? Why does it keep happening to me? But you got to have the test, to have the testimony.
Absolutely. So. You're definitely going to have tests. And I remember one saying that somebody said to me, they said, whenever you feel down, look at those beneath you and not above you. Because every single day, you might wake up today and you might be mad because something is going on in your life. But guess what? There's somebody else that just got told they got a few days to live or a few hours to live. or somebody's child didn't make it home last night,
Yes.
or didn't make it home. So it's like it can always be worse, no matter how bad it seems to be for you. It can always be worse. So always be thankful that it's not worse. You know what I'm saying? It'll keep you thankful. There's so many things that'll keep you grateful. You know what I mean?
That's
That's kind of how I stay up. I stay up like that. I be on 1,000. I ain't gonna front.
All these Jews that you dropping. I think I need to. Like I said, look, first of all, I just wrote it down because I said I don't want to forget it. I think the first thing I said I need on the T-shirt is ignorance is expensive. I need that on the T-shirt.
It is. It is.
Yeah, like seriously, that's gonna be like my hashtag. Like all the things we didn't learn in life has been did propel us to the next level because our ignorance was so expensive. But I love that. I'm writing all this down. I didn't, but I'm taking notes.
Because what's deep, the people, the opportunities that we had when we became millionaires, the things that were so beneficial, it wasn't just the money. It was the amount of knowledge that we actually learned from other people who were millionaires. Yeah. And we learned that the cost of, on one chair, you look and say, oh man, that's a Gucci shirt. Man, I need that. That shirt is $100. Oh, I need that in my life. And then on the other side, this guy has a store, and he's like, oh, man, I paid $1.98 for a shirt. Mm-hmm. That same shirt cost me $3. And you be like, what? I paid $100 for that shirt. And you look at you and be like.
Right, exactly.
And it'd be like, ignorance is expensive, my friend. You see what I'm saying? And there's always somebody for everything out here in this world, whether it's homes, whether it's cars, whether it's jewelry, whether it's whatever, there's always somebody who knows how to get it for almost nothing.
Yes. Yes.
You know? So it's like which side of the table are you sitting on? Are you sitting on the side where you paying top dollar for everything? Mm-hmm. Or are you on the other side where guess what? You ain't spending that much and you still have it. You know? And
especially
knowledge.
Especially when you have dreams, you got to be able to be very fruitful and very, very mindful of every little dollar you spend. So, that definitely makes a difference.
Economic structure, let me tell you something. Economic structure is the whole thing that will help our race as a people.
Yes.
Discipline is number one. People ain't disciplined for nothing, boy. Discipline is what? You have to actually really break down the definition of discipline to some folks and have them look at themselves and say, hey, you say you want this, but are you willing to not have that luxury, and that luxury to get it for 6 months? Some people won't even dedicate 6 months to struggling for their own greater good.
Yeah.
But they'll chase whatever they're trying to get, spend all their money, and then do a year or 2 years struggling.
Well, and be over it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's so
you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's tough. But let me tell y'all about Save the Arts TV. Yes. Save the Arts TV is our YouTube page, which we just reached. Me and my partner Nikisha worked it hard. I always have, even though it's a combination of other people's shows that helped us, put the content out there, me and my partner do the day-to-day work. So we work hard making sure we shoot skits and different shows are edited and they come out. And we just reached 1 million views. So we celebrate that. Because it's hard. Yes, it's hard to get 1 million. It's hard to get 1 million people to watch you. You know what I mean? No. And we had 5,900 subscribers. So within a couple of days, we'll be celebrating the 6,000 subscribers.
All right. I'll go subscribe, so I'll be your 6,000.
Thank you. But our page is very diverse because we have comedy. We talk about cars. We got funny skits. We talk about health. So we talk about vegan. We have vegan chefs on there. We have a sister that does eyebrows and does bikini waxes and Brazilian waxes. We have What the Health with Audretta Hall. I mean, you name it. You want to learn about something, our page got it. We got the arts on there.
Let me ask you this in terms of submission then, for those who are out there watching this, or is this everything that you're doing as far as producing, or can somebody submit their show and say, hey, I want you to put my show on your page?
Well, that's possible. So far, all the shows that we have so far are shows that we shot. So they're like local out here in North Carolina. But if somebody has a show, we would be willing to put it on our page, because our page is monetized and we will do the splits accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Because it's business. It's business. We are definitely getting to, like they say, get to the bag. We're getting to the bag. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, well, that's good to know, because, you know, people is independent or wanting to do something that connects them to someone who has a name like yourself. It's always probably a great way to do that. So for those who are listening and interested, we'll connect and add the information on the Facebook page later.
Absolutely. All right, what's your other question? I saw a whole list of questions that you sent me.
That's why I tell her don't send the questions, because she's. You
said don't send the questions.
Like, I know you had 25 questions. We only had 20. We're not getting off this thing till we get to these other 13. Okay, I didn't block off this whole time, so we're gonna get these other 13 questions in. I'm counting.
Right. Right.
I can't.
Right.
I will say I have the greatest co-host with me, holding it down, and helping to make this show great. And we're looking forward to it growing and developing into something even bigger. But I want to know, what advice do you have for our young people? I mean, you shared so much information today. Like, I mean, I had some, like, my hair standing up on some of the things that you were saying on my arms.
Oh, that's dope.
Took notes.
Yeah.
I think.
We said we took notes.
If you were speaking.
I think when it comes to young people, I think they definitely already have confidence. You know, they have the whole, you know, I'm confident, I'm doing my thing. I think that they need to understand what an artist is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm talking about an artist all the way around the board, not just music, not just, you know, just an artist, a creative. I'm going to say a creative person has to tap in. When we listen to the radio, a lot of artists listen to the radio, they hear a song, they try to duplicate. Mm-hmm. You know, or they see if somebody's making some kind of outfit, they try to duplicate it. Or if, even when somebody want to decorate their car, they see a car and go, oh, I want the same exact rims. Well, I think when you become a real artist, you start to talk to yourself and you start thinking about what it is that you really like and what you really want for yourself. And it doesn't really matter what everybody else think or what everybody else wants. You really tap in. And that's when I think you become the most creative that you could possibly be. I used to call myself an artist for years until recently I just became a visual artist 100%. When it came to, look at Lakeisha trying to stick out. There's my partner, Lakeisha, like, hey.
You Zoom bombing. This is going to be our first Zoom bomb.
Right. So I think for years, like when I created art, every time I created a piece, I would always ask people, you know, what you think? What you think it is? And they'd be like, oh, that's cool. Oh, and when they didn't like it, I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. Even though I created it. You know what I'm saying? Or when they thought it was cool, oh, I thought it was cool. When they said, that's my favorite, I said, that's my favorite too. Mm-hmm. And that was because I really wasn't being true to myself as an artist. Recently, I just started throwing paint at a canvas, and I came up with my own little style that I call it mine, even though people use resin and some people use glitter and some people do the swirls. This one is mine. You know what I mean? I call it mine, but when I do it, I don't care about who likes it.
Yeah.
I have to like it. Yes. Like, I have to like it. I have to love it, and I don't stop working on it until I love it. And then when I love it, I'm like, I say, I love it, it's done, put it to the side. Next. Mm-hmm. And then when someone else comes in the studio, they go, oh, I like that one, but that one right there.
Yeah.
And to me, it does, and I don't really care which one is their favorite. You love one, that's good. You want it?
But
You know what I mean?
that's such great advice, though.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
like you said, it took you time to get to this place. You know,
Absolutely.
you have these kids, there's a lot of peer pressure out there. You know, there's
Absolutely.
bullying, there's, online bullying as well. That's real big.
Right.
So, you have the kids that want to assimilate and be like everyone else, right? So they can fit in.
That's right. Right. They want to fit in. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
So,
I think when you kind of educate a person of what to expect, a person can handle it more. Like if you tell a person, yo, go for it, do your thing, and then they put something out and somebody hates on it, they're like, oh, that person said something negative to me. But if you educate the person by saying, when you put your stuff out, you're going to have haters. They're going to say this and they're going to say that, but don't take none of it in. Do not internalize people's opinions because that's all they are. It's just opinions. Whenever I told a friend of mine had an artist that had just got a record deal, and they called me and they said, what do you want to tell this artist? And I said, sometimes, I got a, filthy mouth, but I'm going to tell them, don't give a blank. And he was like, what does that mean? His face was like, I said, creatively, when you start caring about what everybody say, you will never be true to your gift. You never be true to your gift. Nobody's opinions have no input on your creativity.
Right.
Your creativity needs to be you creating it. And then when it's done, you release it. It's done. Put it out there. Step aside from it. Who likes it, like it. Who don't, they don't. Keep being focused as an artist. Bob Marley used to say, keep creating music. He said, I create music, that's what I do. When a person say, no, Bob, but that song right there is my favorite. He said, yeah, bless up. I'm over here working on a new song. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. Creativity is constant. So it's kind of like that wave. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. So some stuff is going to be high frequency. It's going to be like mind blowing. And some stuff is going to be low. Some stuff is going to be like, oh, that's kind of dark, but I like it. It's kind of different. That's an artist. You know what I mean?
It's funny because, I talk to my daughter all the time. She's on TikTok and, she wants to be this TikTok superstar. And she's actually in here right now. And she's like, Mom, I only got one like. I only got, I don't have anyone liking. Or one day it's like, I got 5 and she feels like so happy. And I'm like, I don't want you to drive your head on how many likes you get,
Right.
She's setting that expectation, like if I don't get more than this number or her friend's number, she's not good enough.
Right.
And I think we
but
have
see,
to.
It's another component to that.
Listen.
There's another component to that because what she's really learning, she's learning marketing right now. The video that got 5 likes, what was that video about? Was it a familiar song? Did you do a certain dance? Did you say something? Whatever that was a more trending topic. And then the ones that got no like, either it didn't reach the people, hey, superstar. so either it didn't reach the people, or it's the particular subject matter or the dance or whatever, but it's teaching her to get used to the camera, to not be shy of that camera. It's teaching her to think about what she's going to put out there to the world, because a lot of those kids, listen, I love it. I love the TikToks and the YouTubes, because what it's doing is grooming our youth to take center stage. So, because guess what? How old is she right now?
How old is she?
9 years old.
She's 9? So guess what? So 9.5. So guess what? If she could take criticism at 9, guess how she's going to feel at 12? None of that's going to bother her at 12. You see what I'm saying? She's going to catch the wave and be like, the key to it is keep going. Because the more videos you make, the more they start spreading around in TikTok land. You see what I'm saying? And more people will stumble on it. Hey, what's this? Because when I go to TikTok, I scroll down and I see a whole bunch of people I don't know.
Yeah.
And if something is good, I put a heart on it. If something is funny, I put a heart on it. If it's a song I like, I put a heart on it. If I don't like it, I just scroll past it. You know what I mean? But these people have earned the little likes that I gave them. You know what I mean? So it's literally so at a certain point, she's going to know what the people like and what the people don't like. So she's learning marketing right now at an early age. So when she gets 15 and 16 and decides she want to get a job somewhere, please, they'll be like, oh, they in tune with what's going on. They know what's going on. They know what's selling, you know? Like my son was being online, and I used to look at him and be like, what are you doing? And he would take his song and he would send $50 to a dancer. And he'd be like, dance to my song. And I'd be like, why are you paying that boy to dance to your song for 1 minute? It's not even a 1 minute video. And he'd be like, no, cuz this is marketing. This is marketing. And I'd be like, what is he talking about? So this one guy had this big following. He sent this boy $150, right? He said, Dad, I'm sending $150. I was like, you crazy. That's $150. What are you sending that boy? That boy got on that song and was like, He did a few moves, and it wasn't even a minute long. 300,000 views.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
300,000 views. And then my little son get a check in the mail from CD Baby for $700.
Wow.
I was like, oh. I said, okay, let me take notes.
You made a $550 profit off that $150 investment. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That's a good return on your investment.
Listen, they take music videos. He got people that's on YouTube. They got these big followers. They'll do like a Japanimation cartoon to his song. He paid this one guy $400. I think he paid him $400, and that guy had maybe like, I think it was like 280,000 views on YouTube. So his song was getting the royalties from the YouTube plays.
And see, that's a lot of things that people need to know. I mean, of course, people who are probably jumping into this kind of get understanding of that platform, but to know that you're getting royalties off of that. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
But that was going to be a great segue to my next question. What additional platforms should, people trying to get into this business to use to get to the next thing?
I think all of the current ones, I think Instagram, Facebook, all of the current ones, definitely YouTube. If you're an artist, use YouTube because it's the hashtags that you put on the YouTubes. It's like if you have a song and it's similar to a Megan Thee Stallion, put Megan name in the hashtags. Put Cardi B in the hashtags. Lead people to you, And then, like anybody else, you have to, like if you're starting a business, no matter what that business is, every business outside of the internet costs money, right? You want to start a car wash, costs money. You want a hair salon, you need at least $25,000. You want to start that store over there, anything you want to start, you got to have cash. When people come to the internet, they forget that component. They come to the internet and they say, oh, it's the internet. So you still need some money to market things, to push things, So if you come to the internet with that same mindset, like an external business, where you say, you know what, I was going to start my clothing line with $2,000. Okay, I'm going to take $1,000 of that and put it into my marketing on Facebook. Because guess what? They literally tell you, like on Facebook, if you do an ad, it'll say $10 will reach 1,500 to 2,000 people. $20 will reach 2,000. So based upon, take that $50. If it say it's going to reach 20,000 people, put the $50 behind your idea. You know what I mean? And then if it reach 50,000 people and they don't click on it, then something wrong with the product you're trying to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So drop another single. Go with something different. You know what I mean? Change the color of the T-shirt. Do a little something different. But put that sneaker money, into marketing whatever you have online to see some kind of success, And YouTube has a thing called AdSense, same thing. You pay them, they put it on different people's pages. If it's something interesting, or if you got a nice thumbnail, or if they got a nice song, people will click on it. Or you got a pretty girl, people gonna click on it. You know what I mean? And you use those things to move, you know, you in the game. So you at the table now, play to win. You know what I'm saying?
That's another question that kind of ties into that, because we were thinking about, you know, this in terms of what your background is. And I thought about one of the things I've always been known about a new artist is that when new artists came out back in the day, they had like artist development teams that would kind of brand them and put them together and package them. You had raw talent, that's all you needed. Nowadays, you have to have it all. So what is having it all and being the it thing? What does that look like right now?
Having it all, it just goes back to the other point when I was talking about it being independent versus signed to a label. Mm-hmm. Having it all means having the tools and the people to do everything, to record it, to mix it, to master it, to do your artwork, to do your videos, to have a couple dollars to put it out there. That's having it all, to be able to package yourself. So you should be able to package yourself so well that people think you're on a label. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? When Rihanna got her record sitting on Apple Music, your record should be sitting right next to it, looking the same quality. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and that's what it's about. It's just really packaging, and that's why I always tell people to buy your tools. Buy the tools you need to succeed. If you're an artist and you know you need a studio, buy a studio. If you know you're going to need video shot one day, buy yourself a camera. Even though you can't just shoot yourself, buy a camera. Teach your cousin to shoot it. You know what I mean? Buy the necessary tools. Get Photoshop if you know you're going to do your own graphics. Learn a little bit. I mean, you can go to YouTube University and learn almost anything. You know what I mean? I mean, it's really about, and that's where the younger generation really has a one step forward from the older generation, is they're constantly learning.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Constantly learning. What else do I need? What other app I need on my phone? What other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
what other plug-in I need? You know, and some of us, we be like, man, I ain't buying now one more camera. I ain't about to spend no more money. You know what I'm saying? You know, they be like, I'm not doing one more thing. And they be like, well, that one thing could take you to another level, but you still saying you ain't spending that money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about them goals. It's about what you're doing with them goals, you know?
And having a strategy and a marketing plan for yourself. That's true. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Makes a difference.
Absolutely.
So
Big difference.
Actually almost an hour and a half.
Hey, well, you know how to chop it up. Look, when it's good, you don't want the party to end.
Exactly.
And you know, I want to be sure that we're not taking too much more of your time. You know, I don't know how much more time.
I'm good. I'm in the lab. I'm in the lab creating. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do.
Well, I feel like just because this question ties into what we're talking about marketing. So with Mixed Education, it was one of the biggest albums, and you and people who know your resume know you were part of the songwriting on that album. But it was an album that everybody consumed the whole body of work. Nowadays, it seemed like you were just pushing out singles. What do you think in terms of goes into the marketing behind getting people to buy more than just a single?
Well, I think that a lot of those people don't understand the basics of the record company from its origin. Mm-hmm. The main thing they have to understand, and this is what we were taught coming into the industry, basically a music video, an interview, a show, a meet and greet, paraphernalia, all of that stuff is designed to do one thing and one thing only: sell a record.
Sales, yeah.
And the record keeps the doors open. And a single ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? To keep the doors open. Because your record agreement says you have to turn in at least 10 songs. The album is going to automatically be at least $10. And if you go to the store, it's usually $12.99 or $14 or whatever, depending on the artist. But they can't make the money they want to make based on one song. Mm-hmm. That one song concept has been trending amongst creatives who are not focused on the dollar. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because if you ask me, hey, you're creative, you get ready to make some music, would you rather get 99 cents or you rather get $10? I'm going to say, I want $10. But they're going to say, okay, well, instead of putting out that one song, give me 9 more. Okay. I'm a creative anyway. I'm sure I got 9 other songs sitting in the computer. If I came up with this one that I think is so great, put the other 9 to it and sell the album.
Mm-hmm.
Put the art out. Put the art out. Stop holding on to the art. You playing games. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Push it out there.
Put your video now, because the major labels, they'll make you go record all of these records, and then they pick top 3, and the top 3 is the 3 they put the money behind.
Right.
They'll drop 1 to the DJs, and if the DJs say, "Oh, it's okay," they'll pay for the other one to go to the DJs. DJs be like, "Yo, this is rocking." They be like, "Okay, this is the one." So then they'll drop another one with the album. Boom. You know what I mean? As soon as they get a song that the DJ say this is it, they gotta say the album is coming soon. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
It's coming soon. Come on, buyers. Go ahead, buyers. Y'all go ahead and get y'all records. You know, it's almost like the concept when Motown was coming to town to do shows.
Mm-hmm.
When Motown was coming to shows, they had them flyers all around the city that Diana Ross and all of them was going to be performing and all that.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, everybody, we're coming. Get your money ready. You see what I'm saying? Because y'all going to come to the show, y'all going to dance with us on the show, and then y'all going to leave here, and y'all going to go to that record store, and y'all going to buy it.
Right.
Get your money ready. You know what I mean? And they depended on it. They survived off of it.
Yeah, because touring is where the money is, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
that's why a lot of people toured before they became a major artist.
So you have people. So you have people. You have some people who use. You know, there's fame and then there's fortune. So some people have spent a lot of time trying to become more famous because it has worked from some other people. Some other people got famous and it opened some doors and then they got to the fortune. But when you have the majority of the people chasing fame, that's a lot of people not getting paid. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I know him and him and him and him and him is trying to put their videos out and they don't have no albums for sale and all that, but you need to focus on selling some albums. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
and I mean, it's an example because my 2 sons, they're both talented. The one is 21. Actually, he was rapping better than my 19-year-old. But my 19-year-old, he lives with me, and the other one lives in St. Louis. So my St. Louis son, I would say, hey, let's shoot a video. You got to get some visuals. You got to do this and do that. And he'd be like, nah, I'm on this mixtape. I'm working with my boys and blah, 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 blah. He got his whole little story. But then my 19-year-old is getting royalty checks. Why? Because he's listening to what his dad said about selling a product, marketing a product.
Oh, you have a whole son that don't want to listen to you. He's like, I got this.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like Michael Jordan's son being like, I don't need your help with this basketball, this dribbling. I got this.
Yeah. And you know what's funny though? He comes back around later. Okay, like he won't listen, and then I say, hey, you know, your brother just made $2,000. He'd be like, for real? And then he'll talk to him. He'll call sooner, and they'll have their conversation on the side. And then next thing you know, he'll be telling me, oh yeah, I'm about to drop this. I'm about to shoot a video. You know what I'm saying?
What's your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm like, let's do this record. I'll be like, let me hear it.
But you know, I guess that's one of those things as children, though. We kind of want to do things on our own because we want to say, I did it, and my dad didn't help me. But I guess it's kind of one of those things you kind of look like, okay, well, that's good. At least you're going out there to try, no matter what. You're doing it your way. Right. You know, but you know when to come back to ask when it matters for me to help you.
Right.
So.
That's right.
I love that.
I'll let them know. I'll be like, hey, you're going to stumble and fall. I'm your father regardless. So I'll be here. But if you don't want to listen, go ahead and do it your way. See if it works. If it don't work, then you'll say, I should have listened. You know, I should have listened. And I'll be like, hey, I only spent my whole life doing this. You know
right. It's only been my entire life, but it's fine. Go ahead.
My entire life, right.
But you know what it is, too? Also, these generation, like my niece, she has an eyelash company. And I'm telling her, you can't just put her eyelashes out. You got to create content that's going to allow people to want to buy it. You can't just put out everybody's selling eyelashes. Everybody got eyelashes. Right. So I said to her, but she don't want to listen. She's like, oh, I'm gonna just put my pictures up and that's enough. I'm like, okay. Tell me how that goes. Tell me after your 6 friends bought them lashes, what happens after your inventory? But they think because they know everything, because they think they got Google now, they're better than people who've been wiser and have experienced it firsthand. So you got to let them learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they will. They will.
You have another question. I think Regina's coming back on, but her daughter has a question for us.
Oh, awesome. Speaking of lashes, my lash is coming off.
It's all about inspiration, right?
Look, you better call your niece. Look.
You put hers on. I didn't put hers on. So that's the problem.
You be like, look, niece, I just talked about you, and now I need some lashes.
And that's funny because I didn't put hers on, so I'm gonna tag her and say, if I had only wore your lashes, maybe I got this hot light in here, so the sweat is like going in my eyelashes. It's bleeding a little bit. But go ahead, baby girl.
Oh, man.
Hi, Mackenzie. You have to take your phone off of mute.
Oh, precious.
See, this is what it's all about. You know, getting our kids involved in these chats, sharing all this information.
I would love to bring my daughter up here, but then she'll be thinking it's her music video and just start dancing. I'm like, there's no music. What are you doing? She'll see herself and be like.
So look at who you are. Perfect.
Hi, my name is Mary, and my question is, what encouraged you to be a film producer and a songwriter?
Oh, awesome.
Well, earlier I talked about how I stumbled on being a film producer from an artist that I work with, and somebody didn't show up to shoot the music video. So I learned from that. I shot one video, turned to 13 videos, and then I said I wanted to do some more, which was shoot a film. So that was that. Songwriter, that's interesting because when we had a rap group on Quincy Jones, I was strictly a rapper. Penny McDonald, who was part of Yo MTV Raps at the time, and I believe she created 106 in Park. She came to us and said, hey, when Quest Records was ending, she said, why don't you and Veda do some R&B songs? And I said, man, I don't know how to do no songs. I'm a rapper. I don't know how to do no songs. And she said, well, you were singing on some of the hooks of the rap songs. So those are like songs. She said, why don't you study different, artists? And I started listening to Al Green, Stevie Wonder, Donny Hathaway, Curtis Mayfield. I started listening to all the greats, and I started listening to how they put their songs together, how their wordplay. I was like, wow, listen to the words. He said, they said certain words that if it was if they were singing to a woman, it was almost like they were talking to a woman, but they were saying some words that made the woman go, wow, you're educated, or you're smart, or you're just cool, or whatever. And I said, oh man, I want to be able to put words together like that. But now I needed to do it with melody. Rap was just like, yo, but now I had to be like, I had to really put melody to it. And I was like, this is hard. But then I said, you know what, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be the best at it. And I actually became what I call a writer's writer, where other writers who were really good, they respected me as a writer. I co-wrote a song with Babyface. Wow. You know how big that is? Like, that's huge. Babyface is a freaking legend. And I was able to write some lyrics and him listen to them and go, I like that. And he wrote some lyrics with me. And I was like, that's interesting, right?
This is happening.
And that was like the stamp of approval. I just knew that I was a writer at that point. I was like, oh, it's official. And it was like, oh, Kyo's good. And I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I tried it. I always said that I wanted to be the best rapper in the world when I started. But then later on, I realized I didn't want to be the best rapper. I wanted the lifestyle of the best rapper. Mm-hmm. I wanted the house. I wanted to be able to take care of my family and give mom some stuff and travel, help your friends, do stuff. That's what I really wanted, and I just didn't know that. You know what I mean? I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
That was my motivation.
That's such an awesome advice to give, because it's like when people think about, you know, somebody telling you to do something, you're like, I'm not good at that. That's not what I'm good at. They're like, just try. And that's such an awesome advice to give our, you know, our youth to listen, and anybody for that matter, when you think about trying something that's not in your wheelhouse. And you're like, well, just try it, you know? And you often find yourself, you already had it within you because you had the foundation. You were just a little bit tweaking that you needed to do. So that's great. That's great advice.
Thank you.
Mackenzie, do you have any other questions?
No.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Sorry, they both are on those TikToks and everything. All the kids, I think that's the latest craze now.
Yes.
So. Yeah, the TikTok. Yeah, I mean, one thing with TikTok that I tell my daughter, before she posts a TikTok, I have to see that TikTok.
Yes.
I know that's right. I know that. Supervision
of yourself and your family and everybody else, right?
Right.
That's right.
That's one
Supervision
thing,
is the key.
You know, that I'm strict on. I know at one point I found Kasari, she posted a video, and you know, I went on one night when she was sleeping, and I'm looking, I'm like, she didn't show me this video. The next morning, I'm like, Kasari, what is this video? Oh, you know, and I'm like, look, I cannot have you posting videos without me looking. And the next time you do it, you may not have TikTok. Right. So I think you should have, and I know that's her creative thing. She's always in the
right.
That's all they do. That's
now
all
everything
they do.
is like,
yes. Hey, make sure, look, right? And make sure, Kiana, that you do a TikTok with her too.
Please.
Yes.
The savage, sure you savage dance.
Look.
On the savage.
Look, you should see me. I'm like, let me practice this first, and then I look at the video.
Just do it anyway. Just do it.
Make sure, listen, go ahead and make those memories. Make them memories with your baby girl. That's important. That is. Oh, trust me, I will act a fool for my kids. They'll be like, Dad, I'm doing TikTok. Matter of fact, I'm already on like 2 TikToks with my son, just acting a fool. Just because I'm like, show the world your dad is straight cool. Let's go. Let's go. You know what I mean? Hey, look, I like having fun.
It's true.
I like having fun with them.
There's that new game Roblox that all these kids are playing. And I really don't understand what the like, I don't understand it. Like, we had Pac-Man, Donkey Kong Jr., you know, we had things that.
But no, Kiana, I'm going to take you back. I'm going to take you back. Let's go back. We started out with blocks.
Okay, but.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, it came back around. It came, so instead of them having physical blocks, now they got a video game of it. It's digital now.
Okay.
And they walking and talking. It's Lego. It's like Legos mixed with blocks together.
well, how about it? Here's another game that gets you. The Sims. Does anybody know what Sims is?
I do know what the Sims are. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Go play with a Barbie doll.
Yeah.
Why are you here dressing up a character on a computer screen? But that's their Ken and Barbie.
The problem I have is hearing that, Mom, I need $19.99 because I gotta get 4,000 more robots.
Oh no! Listen. I have experience being in a house and hearing, who charged this on my credit card? Because they bought these digital characters clothes.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So you should press a button. But that's awesome.
That ain't nothing but payback for us being on the party line. That's all that is.
That's it. I remember, what was the thing, the video request thing you used to call it to the box? The box. Oh my goodness.
The box.
Yeah.
When Sweet Tea, when Sweet Tea video came out, I can't think of the name. It was Sweet Tea. It was like a slow version. I'm talking about, I don't know what heartbreak. I probably didn't even have a heartbreak, but it was a song that touched my soul. I think I had $50 worth of video requests on my
Oh man, that's when she was walking on it. She was walking on the beach.
Yes.
I remember that.
That is too
Oh
funny.
man, I remember
I was gonna be sweet tea one day.
You have any other questions for us?
Oh, I have just one final one. So, so what do you do constantly, or maybe daily? I don't know, to challenge yourself for your underlying beliefs or assumptions of what people say, or any negativity. Like, just how do you just stay positive and keep in the realm of, I'm not going to let the underlying beliefs and assumptions impact me?
I think for me, I think the one thing about having a YouTube page and being a content creator, you're constantly putting yourself in front of the camera and you're constantly sharing what you're doing. And what I found, because I'm a creative, I found that to people looking, they find my life to be very interesting. Mm-hmm. They're like, this guy's painting 1 minute he's working on a car, 1 minute he's working on a house, he's doing floors, he's doing music, they're doing skits, and it just goes on and on. So I think sometimes people, they look to say, what is he doing next? So for me, I'll wake up with, you know what am I doing today? Oh, I'm about to do this. Let me do a live. Boom. And I really don't care what people think. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, this is me and this is what I'm doing today. Either you like it or you don't. And it's so funny because sometimes, you know, we'll look and when we're doing a live and you might see 14 people or 16 people. And some people will be like, oh, well, ain't nobody on here. Let me get off here. Or they kind of tune themselves down. But I'll be on that live like there's 1,000 people there. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm here today. And we over here. And look at this. And then when I get off and I log off, I look later and there's 300 people that looked at it. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. You know what I mean? And it goes back to what I said earlier about I live life to the max because I've seen so much death. You know what I mean? And every day, I'm like, you know what? I woke up. Every day is a new life. All right, God, I'm about to celebrate this thing. What I'm doing today? Let me go have some fun. Let me go eat something good. Okay, let me do 25 jumping jacks. Get my blood flowing. You know. And I just say, let me do something creative because if I'm called back tomorrow, if God say, okay, your life is over, you're going home, right? If I'm called back tomorrow, I want everybody to say, yesterday, my boy was lit. He was having fun. He was doing, and I want them all to say, he lived his life to the max. He lived to the max. And no matter what he was going through, because he got problems like everybody else, you don't see them. You don't see my problem because they're not that big for you to see. You see what I'm saying? They're not that bad. It can always be worse, so it's not that bad that I need to promote the problem. Mm-hmm. I need to promote the blessing. You see what I'm saying? I need to say, hey, guess what, God? Guess what, y'all? I'm alive, I'm kicking, I'm healthy. What's up? What y'all doing today? It's a great day. They could have my car could be outside, broke down on flats. Foreclosure, whatever. It could be all kinds of stuff going on in my life. But guess what? It don't even matter because I'm right here in front of you and I'm smiling, I'm healthy, you smiling back, and we good. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, what you doing tonight? What you about to go watch after this live? You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. We are here. We are like what you do today can affect your tomorrow. You know what I mean? You could get off this live right now and go create a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. And then 10 years later, I could walk into a museum and say, wow, this is Regina? Regina? What's Regina? You see what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how this world spins. This world spins exactly like that. So the same people that we look at and we say, wow, that person is great. That person was depressed 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Well, that person ain't know where their life was going to be and then they had to say, you know what? Summon up your energy, wherever you got to get it from. You got to get it from your grandma who passed away, your cousin, your brother, your ancestors. If it had to be a book, if it had to be the Bible, the Quran, if it was a movie, no matter where you get it from, get it. You see what I'm saying? Get that doggone energy that makes you stand tall and feel awesome about yourself and know that you're blessed and you can do anything on this planet. And you're no less than anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you awesome. You great. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to imitate us. Everybody. Everything that we do. I mean, something we see today, stuff was created by our ancestors who didn't even get the credit for it.
I love a shirt that a friend of mine who has her own show, she has a shirt that says, was a shirt that a friend of her makes the different sayings, and it says, Black culture is the culture.
Right. Right. You see what I'm saying? And it's like when you believe it, because there's a lot of sayings, right, that's out there. Positive, Black sayings, leaders, I am my ancestors, what do you say? I am my ancestors' wildest dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of sayings out there, but what has to happen is we have to believe it.
Yeah.
Because when you believe it, you'll exude it. You know what I mean? It'll pour out. It comes out your pores.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you go, you'll feel it. Like when people like right now, we in a world where you have Black men feeling like, I'm the hunted. They're killing us. Bruh, if you don't stand up, bruh, listen, we all going, regardless. We all going. Every person is promised death. We're promised that. But while you are alive, you got to stand tall. You got to be who God created you to be, and you represent your ancestors. You are a warrior. You a king. You son of kings. Like, you don't walk with your head down, and you don't fear nothing but God. Period. Fear God only. Don't fear nothing. Don't fear no gun. Don't be silly and jump in front of it. Don't provoke, but don't be afraid of it either. You get what I'm saying? And you'll stand in it. You stand in it, and you smile like, man, listen, I smile. Y'all see, I smiled 100,000 times in this interview. I can't help it. I think God made my teeth big for this purpose or something because I can't help it. You know what I mean? But it's me. I'm always going to be that guy. Now, I'm not no clown. I'm not a joke, but I smile because I'm happy. I'm happy about life. I'm happy about everything. It's not that bad. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? We are blessed, big time. And you can't even count your blessings. Nobody can count them. It's that many. It's that many. Like, it's literally that many that you can't count. So why be down? Why be sad at all? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great. I received that.
I got a black screen. Somebody went black.
I'm here.
I don't know if there's any other questions out there, but if you have any questions before we end this live, please post it in the chat, or if you want to come on live with us, let us know.
Shoot, I got the 2-hour live. Hey. I done broke the mold.
You got it. Like, this is awesome.
I got the 2-hour live. I'm in the 2 hours. Look at that.
Like I said, I have a bonus every month with Kilo.
Do you have it on Facebook now? Kiana, is it on Facebook? Did it get on Facebook?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
No. But it will be, because this was.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it with my people. My people's going to see it. It's going to be popping.
That's good.
Yeah. I think I just need to listen to this again, just to hear it again. Like, the amount of, it was just, you can't just hear this one time.
No, we do.
Oh, thank you.
You have to go back and hear this. For anyone who
I'm excited about that.
I'm telling you, I mean, take time to go back and listen to this. You know?
Right. That's dope. I love that. I love that. I'm humbled by that. I love that. That's dope. I think that's important. I mean, that's what life is about for me. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I'm 48. I'm 48, and I'm hip hop. You know what I mean? And I'm hip hop. Yeah, I'm young. I'm like, listen, I can hang with the best of the young folks.
Awesome. And you're still evolving. You're still learning new things. Tapping into the creativity of yourself. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And it's fun. I'm enjoying it. It's literally fun. You know.
And you're sharing the knowledge back,
When you keep all
absolutely.
yourself.
Yes.
The fact that you take that information and you're willing to just pour it out and share it with all of us.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna share the last thing. The last thing me and Kiana talked about the other day was, and I'm gonna put it in this live so you'll have it right here.
I'm
Is
gonna send you back to
buying is getting into position. I'm gonna do it quick. People need to get into position to buy their freedom. I told Kiana when we talked before that I bought some real estate properties, and the real estate properties basically pay for me. It pays my bills. The properties pay my bills, which allows me to have freedom to be creative and to do the things that I really want to do in life. So sometimes there's two different ways to be rich. One person is rich because he got a whole bunch of money and he could do anything, but another person is rich because he don't have no bills. You get what I'm saying? So anytime he get a little bit of money, he could do the same exact thing that the rich person do. Take vacation, help people, help family and friends, and still be creative to do the things that's in his heart or her heart. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when you're spending so much of your time trying to survive, the job is kind of like, I hate to say, you know, people use the term like certain jobs are like slavery. I hate to use that term because guess what? You're working that. It ain't working you. You have to work it. You know what I mean? And that money that you make is supposed to be able to fund the things that you want to do for yourself, you know, and your family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, and your jobs and all those different things are tools. Like if you're a contractor and you have a tool belt, your job might be your hammer. Your hustle might be your screwdriver. You know, but all of those tools have a job to do, and they're supposed to build the life that you want for yourself. So it's never about the tools. Like my music is one tool, film is one tool, you know, but it's not about the tools. It's about how I use these tools to build the life that I want for myself, which is me doing what I want to do whenever I want to do it. That's the perfect life for me. For different people, it's different. You know what I mean? But these are all my tools. Like these, look, I could wear these around my waist, and they're all just tools to build the life that I want for myself. So that's important. To me, that's the true definition of freedom.
And you learned that over time. It wasn't something that you just, at 20 years old, you knew that, you know?
Yeah. And the sad part about it is if somebody, and see, the crazy part is at 20-something years old, I had the money to do it.
Right.
But ignorance was too expensive. You get what I'm saying? I was doing the wrong thing with the money. So now that's why on your podcast, we're telling the 20-year-old that's about to make that serious money, hey, you see what I'm saying? Get your money and put it into buying your freedom to do the things that's in your heart. Don't wait until you get to retirement and say, now I'm old and I got ailments and all kinds of stuff, and now I need to do the things I really want to do for myself. No. Do it now. Set your life up the way you want it while you have that health. You know what I mean? Like you said, we go from knowing nothing to knowing much and back to knowing nothing. So get prepared for that back to knowing nothing. You get what I'm saying?
And I think that there's a lot to be said about the fact that when we think about 20-year-olds now, they have a lot more access to things than we did, you know, coming up. And where our parents' generation, which is about going to work and getting education, where now if you want to do the multifaceted of things that are out there in the world, if your parents are not into it, then find a friend or find somebody online, you know, safely that you can connect to that allows you and encourages you, because there were things that I wanted to do when I was a child or growing up. And my parents were like, nope, you're going to get a job. You're going to work for this good government and keep it moving. So there's a lot of that kind of generational things we have to get past. And now these children at this age, they may not get it from their home, but they can go out and get resources and find people and connect with people like yourself, Hilo, that they can ask those questions to, because you seem very approachable, where if you say, hey, can I ask you a few questions, and there are people out there may be something like, no, I got time. But there are people like yourself who seem like they would be eager to help someone and educate them on that. So it's one of those things where you have to, like you said, you know, listen and learn it. So
that's right. That's right.
So
that's right. I'm telling you, that's right.
Even with this platform, you know, I've been fortunate. You know, I've reached out to many people, to ask to be a part of this experience. And I was surprised to have such a response back of all positive, all positive. They want to be a part of it.
Right.
They didn't ask for any money. They were just excited about this opportunity and to share this information.
That's right.
And having you on today, it solidifies my purpose of why I'm doing this. And it really, and we need more of this. And you're coming back on. We're booking you once. Come back and continue to show you jewels.
And I wanted to show you the next generation of creative. So I brought my babies up here, so we can also have with Cassie. She's still there?
No.
Okay. But this is awesome because, like I said, this is so good to be inspired and have people like you who are still leading the way, so that these younger generations can come up and have at least some of the the groundwork paid for them. So I appreciate all that you put into it. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Hey, y'all.
I just want to say, I've learned so much about you. We've known each other so long, and I think tonight.
Yeah, they were banging at the door. They were like, enough. It's time to eat dinner.
That I've never knew, and you're special.
So you get dinner?
And, I appreciate you as my friend, and I thank you for being a part of this journey with us. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. Love you much, Kiki. You already know. All right. And it's a pleasure meeting you, Queen.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
All right.
Thank you so much. All right. Take care. Be blessed.
All right.
Bye.
Dinner time.
You say time to eat dinner.
Time to eat dinner.